This is Julianne Condia, host of Rewritten. Thank you so much for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
You're listening to Ketchup, an official news production of Public House Media.
Today is June 8th, 2020, and it's time to catch up on the news that you need to know about.
Today, we're helping you catch up on what's happening in sports, pop culture, and breaking news.
We're your hosts, Madeline Cum
and Catherine Smith. Welcome to Catch Up.
57 people once made up the Buffalo Police Response Team in New York. A video that has now gone viral shows a 75-year-old protester being shoved to the ground by a member of the response team. The video shows the now hospitalized man lifeless as blood pools around his head. Since the incident and public outcry, all 57 responders have resigned. This comes after all were suspended without pay. 2 officers have been charged with second-degree assault and were released without bail. Their court date is scheduled for July 20th. If convicted, both can face a maximum of 7 years in prison. This story is still developing. Please follow at Time for Ketchup on Twitter for the latest news.
UFC fighter Conor McGregor recently announced his retirement yesterday after a series of tweets on Twitter explaining that, quote, the game does not excite him any longer. Due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic and the pause of UFC fights, McGregor decided to put the fighting in his past to the significant waiting period and his lack of passion for the sport. This announcement has been the third retirement announcement by McGregor in the past 4 years.
In the world of entertainment, Universal Studios reopened its gates after 2 months of closing down due to COVID-19 on June 5th. All guests must complete a thorough screening upon entering the park, such as confirming they haven't experienced any symptoms and getting their temperature taken. Hand sanitizing stations and social distancing marks are spread throughout the park. Parades and other community hotspots are still canceled for the time being. Its biggest rival, the Disney giant, which brings in $20.3 billion in sales annually, is set to reopen July 11th with similar guidelines. Here is our correspondent Meg Com, a former cast member at Disney World, to walk us through these procedures and give us her thoughts. Hey Meg, how are you?
Good, Madeline. How are you?
I'm good. So Meg, tell me, as a former employee of Walt Disney World, how are you reacting to these new guidelines after seeing guest behavior firsthand?
As always, Disney focuses first on safety. So the parks are going to be limiting their attendance and operating at a limited capacity. This means no parades, fireworks, shows, or character meet and greets. Additionally, dining plan reservations and Fast Pass Plus selections have been canceled. This is to help maintain social distancing within restaurants and ride queues. Only some restaurants and resorts will reopen for now. Which ones, that has not been stated. Cast members and guests over the age of 2 are required to wear masks while within the parks and common areas of hotels. Everyone will undergo a temperature screening prior to park entry. Disney's also recommending cashless transactions, and they will be increasing their cleaning and disinfecting procedures as well.
So, Meg, tell me, why do you think both parks have such different opening dates? Some people are saying because it's purely safety, some think it's competition. What's your input on that?
Although Universal and Disney are both theme park companies, they do operate differently. Universal caters to a little bit older crowd, and I would say there's more of a focus on rides. Disney is definitely caters to those younger kids, having a lot of shows and character meet and greets. So I think part of the difference in timeline there is just due to how much interaction between cast members and guests that there are at each theme park. I also think Disney is trying to avoid being open over the July 4th holiday. Usually that day the parks reach full capacity, which this year cannot be done.
Great, and that's great information. What would you say to close out? What are your tips for staying safe on a family vacation in this kind of environment now?
Well, first of all, if this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip for you and your family, I would highly recommend postponing your trip until things are back open, because there is a lot that is closed down right now. If you've been before and riding rides is your number one priority and you want to go for it, go right ahead. But please listen to Disney's guidelines and the recommendations from cast members. Please wear your mask. I know wearing a mask in Florida heat is not ideal. Make sure you're drinking lots of water, taking breaks in the shade, going back to your hotel for a break if you need to. But really making sure to follow those guidelines. Wash your hands multiple times a day. use a lot of hand sanitizer, and make sure your phone gets disinfected. People are on their phones constantly within Disney parks. Really important to keep that clean.
Thanks for your insider info, Meg. Catherine, back to you.
In 1983, a 4-year-old Deidre Taylor was pulled out of her family's burning apartment building by a brave New York firefighter, and now after 37 years of searching for Taylor's fighter hero, he has finally been found. After Taylor, a now nurse from Virginia, volunteered to serve as a pay-it-forward hero on the front lines of New York's nationwide COVID-19 pandemic, she has found the man who once saved her life from the burning flames. Rekindling this miraculous discovery, hero Eugene Puglisi Jr. now witnesses the outcome of his frontline strife at the age of 75. Thanks for catching up on today's news with us. I'm Catherine Smith.
And I'm Madeline Cum. Please be sure to catch up with us again tomorrow.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts.
We appreciate you listening to Catch Up. For even more content, follow Ketchup Digital on social media. Just search for @TimeForKetchup.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on any of the stories we covered today. Just use the hashtag #PassTheKetchup on social media.
Ketchup is an official production of Public House Media.